Before I say anything further, I would like to have a moment of silence. One of my colleagues, Muriel Hunt, recently experienced a real tragedy in her life. Her son, Malik Sanders, was killed on April 1st while crossing the road in Berry Road. And I think as teachers and parents, we can all really empathize with that devastating loss. So if you'll join me in just a few seconds of silence to think of her. It is often said that being a teacher is isolating work. If that's true, then I am surely doing it wrong. Because students and supporters are at the heart and soul of Room 409. On any given day, you can find any one of the following people in my classroom collaborating, coaching, supporting, troubleshooting, and most importantly, learning. My thanks to the following people for making the 4-story climb to Room 409. District technology integration folks like Jeremy Davis and Andrea Cook. Director of Language Services, Allison Heil. Chris Odom, KCPS ELA Coordinator for Secondary. Community partners and collaborators, Brittany Veretti, Prep KC and NEPRIS. Susan Borgmeyer and Julie Stevenson, educational consultants from the CRPDC. Katie Taylor, volunteer for Kansas City Public Library. Kelly Locke and Dr. Precious Kurth from Liberty North High School. And the KCPS Ed Foundation, which helped me bring mindfulness into our classroom this year. You can always find East Bear colleagues as well. Shanna Rainley, our East High School instructional coach, Bridget Kammer, our librarian, Cheryl Downen, our technology specialist, Muriel Hunt, our instructional specialist, and ESL teachers and paras, especially Justine Gompsey, Patrick Breyer, Michael King, Donna Hyatt. And we have this amazingly supportive administrative team that includes Brian Van Osdal, Vice Principal, Ben Richardson, Vice Principal, and Luis Hinojosa, our Principal. And of course, there are my students. Over 100 each day bring a unique contribution to Room 409 and to my life. Tonight is really a celebration of them, and I thank you all for that. Anyone who enters Room 409 is greeted by this hand-drawn anchor chart that reads, "Welcome to English with Miss Mora. Your story starts here." Little did I know how true that would be of my story as well. You see, when I learned that Room 409 needed a teacher, I actually had 3 options. I could remain in my position as a state instructional specialist for DESE. I could accept my invitation to enter my doctoral studies at the University of Vermont to pursue ethics and education policy, or I could accept a teaching position with ELLs at KCPS at East High School. So why do I teach? Well, in his book, It Won't Be Easy, Tom Rademacher says, what we do is far less important than why we do it. So why do I teach? I teach because any acronym for students that includes the word limited, as does the federal acronym LEP for Limited English Proficient, must be disproved and removed from education vocabulary. No student's story should ever contain the word limited. So why do I teach? Because, as Dr. Robert Nash from the University of Vermont has discovered, if I find the student's story, I will find the heart and soul of the student. For example, when I place culturally and linguistically diverse students at the center of their own scholarship, I learn, after reading Anir's journal last week, that he was proud of himself because he helped his mother pay the household bills. But the one thing he thought he could have done better was, quote, give her more money, end quote. So how can I encourage Anir to parlay that into a me search paper where we locate and write about community services that might help him help his family? I can also read papers where I can mourn the loss of people, places, and things with students who miss familiar aspects of their lives after coming to the U.S. Like Marcos, who writes about the church truck in his old neighborhood that, quote, every sunny Saturday it will arrive in that exact spot. A guy would come to that spot. Me and my friends would hear a whistle and we would know where to go. It was all set up with drinks like cups of Gatorade. There would be a ravioli race, and whoever could eat the most of a spicy, hot toasted jalapeno. Last, we would get like 7 full bags of food based on how much people are in your family. When I brought the food to my house, my mom was happy, end quote. How can I encourage Marcos to investigate and write a me search paper to design such a truck in our community? I gain a better understanding of what it means to be a refugee and a displaced person after reading Isra's personal narrative, in which she writes, quote, they came to our village and they started putting the fire on everyone's houses. They burned all our farms and they took all the camels that were left, and we don't know what happened to our sheep. They killed 2 million people. More than 1,000 people were lost. About 1 million people evacuated. My father tried his best to save us from the fight, and he did. We love our dad. He is smart and a hardworking man. If my dad wasn't there, none of us would be alive at this time, end quote. How does creating a public space for Isra to share her narrative contribute to her sense of self and to our understanding of each other? Might the narrative factor into Isra's decisions later in life to be a bilingual psychologist, head of an NGO, or winner of the Nobel Prize for Peace? As you can hear, my students are anything but limited. Their stories are not limited either. Instead, Dr. Nash would say, quote, these narratives draw our attention to our primary charge, to help our students realize their best selves in all types of situations, both good and bad. So why do I teach? Because these and hundreds of other stories matter. Our students matter. What we do every day in our classroom matters. Tonight is a celebration of all teachers. I love celebrating our successes with each other as we have tonight. Our rooms, our buildings, our students, our practices are the reason we are all here in this room together. Room 409 is just a microcosm of the terrific things happening in classrooms all over the district. Thank you for entrusting me to speak on our behalf of the great work we are all doing. Thank you, students and colleagues of KCPS. Our story starts here.